What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. I had somebody who tweeted me and sent me a DM basically asking what I meant by balancing the guns around Warzone and the meta changes that are associated with that. So I'd like to briefly explain, it's going to be a very, very short video, what that entails. We're going to use the MP7 as an example, and with the MP7, the primary thing that you'll notice is it's actually, by stats, one of the weakest guns. Now there's four things that go into a gun being meta or the overall quality of said weapon. Those things are going to be the accessibility to the player, the handling or the way the gun performs, whether it be its spray, its aim down sights, everything all coupled into one. So the handling of the gun, the range of the gun, and by range I don't mean damage, I mean how far away the gun shoots without losing bullet drop off, the damage, and the fire rate. Those four things are what make a gun a meta weapon. Now the MP7's problem is it is an A tier handling weapon. And what I mean by that is the iron sights, its accuracy, the recoil control, its spray pattern, everything about the gun is wonderful. It's beautiful. It's the only redeeming quality of this weapon. Everything else lacks severely. For example, it is the lowest damage weapon out of all of the submachine guns. You can see that here. There's not one submachine gun that has lower damage. Now the problem for that becomes, if that's the case, shouldn't the fire rate maybe be higher? You have the lowest damage weapon in the game, but the fire rate on it is not the highest. Now, according to the stats you see below, it's not even the most accurate gun. And that's not very reliable to go off that because accuracy is not judged the same way a player would judge it when you put it into a statistical form. I would argue the MP7 has the best accuracy in handling, but according to the stats, it doesn't even have that. No, that's not true. What actually is holding the gun back is not even the fire rate. Granted, if it's the lowest damage, it should have the highest fire rate, but really what the problem is the actual true damage values of it. Now, the reason this ties into the way Warzone and the new meta is being balanced for weapons, they're balancing it purely off the range. The last couple nerfs, especially to the MP5, were all nerfs to the range, in the 10mm range. Now what range is the farther away the target is, the more bullets it takes to kill. This is the bullet drop-off range, or the range drop-off. So for some guns, like the CR56 Max and the FAL, at a medium to close distance, they have 2-shot kill potential. And not 2-shot kill potential to the head only, it's chest and head. Whereas if you go out greater distances, this drops off. And it follows a similar fashion with other weapons, whether they be a 3-shot up close, all the way out to, like the MP7 at a great distance, if you do not hit headshots, can take up to 6 bullets to kill, effectively turning it into a pea shooter. Now the problem, and the reason the gun outside of Warzone isn't as viable, that damage range drop-off doesn't matter, because even up close, the MP7 can take an upwards within a 10-meter distance of 4 shots to kill somebody. Without having the highest fire rate, effectively makes its time to kill incredibly low. Even buffing that fire rate, if it still takes 4 shots to kill, even if you get those 4 shots off in the same amount of time it takes another gun to get 3 shots off, if the other gun is a 3-shot kill, you haven't made it a meta weapon. Yes, it's going to have a higher fire rate and a higher time to kill, and its handling is really good, but you haven't effectively made the gun good enough to justify using it. So balancing everything around the range, when in a normal map, especially in SND, you are typically not engaging in 100 to 200 meter gunfights with an MP7. The gun just falls behind. It just can't keep up. A good comparison would be the M4. The M4 does not have the fastest fire rate, and it doesn't have the highest damage. What it does have is early accessibility. Players have time to get comfortable with it, and the handling of the gun is phenomenal. Even right out of the gate with no attachments, the gun has a very nice upwards kick, which can be easily controlled with a little bit of pressure down. It has a great headshot multiplier, an average fire rate and average damage, as well as great handling, iron sights, potential to spray up close range. So if we compare this to the MP7, has a grade A handling. M4 has a grade A handling. M4 has about a B tier fire rate and a B tier damage. The MP7 has about a B tier fire rate and a C to D tier damage. This is why the gun cannot be considered good, because you don't have to have a AAA in every category, but if you have wonderful handling, you have to have things to back that up. And the low, incredibly low damage of the MP7, not the range, but the overall damage, makes it so unviable to compete against more meta weapons. The MP7 will lose to the MP5 almost every single time, almost any scenario, unless you get the jump on them and shoot dramatically first. Even guns, like the Striker and the Fennec, which have terrible handling. They're not good guns. The Fennec has an incredible kill rate and time to kill, but its handling is just not good, along with its incredibly high fire rate and small clip and slow reload. But their time to kill is actually higher than the MP7, and I would argue the Striker is the worst gun in Call of Duty. It's terrible. It is a horrible submachine gun, and it has a higher time to kill than the MP7 does, simply because there's such a greater damage. So what needs to happen in order to have proper weapon balancing is you have to start balancing some of these guns around multiplayer gameplay. The MP7 could easily be improved by a small damage increase, simply making it so it has an effective 3-shot kill range at all times without having to get headshots, and maybe a slight increase to the range so it can take less than 6 shots at greater distances. But the range alone will not be enough to improve this weapon. It will not make it viable in multiplayer. It may change the way the game plays in Warzone, because a 5-shot kill range, even if the damage isn't changed, is still a phenomenal upgrade when you're talking about mapping people at long distances in Warzone. But for your average multiplayer gameplay, the damage, the fire rate, the handling, those are the things that matter. Thank you guys for watching. Have a good day.